So this video is on Chapter 2 classwork, exponents and special right triangles. So in this first problem, we need to raise everything to the fourth power. So 3 to the fourth is 81. When I have x to the third raised to the fourth, I call that power to power. And power to power means we're going to be multiplying those. So that's x to the 12th. And I'm going to do the same here. Y to the fifth raised to the fourth, y to the 20th. And that is your answer. On the next one, for this one, when you see the 4 and the 8, this is just like a normal fraction, 4/8. So 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 8 two times, so this really reduces down to a 1/2. Now, if everything's canceled out on the top, you definitely need the 1 on top. If you have stuff on top, you don't need that 1. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 2 on bottom, and then I'll see if I need to write my 1 on top. And now I'm going to be looking at each letter. So looking at my Z's, I have 7 Z's on top. I have 3 Z's on bottom. So 3 on bottom can cancel with 3 on top, and I'm left with 4 on top. Now my X's, I have an X to the 6th on top and an X to the 8th on bottom. So 6 on top can cancel with 6 on bottom, leaving me with 2 on bottom. Now my y to the third, I don't have any y's anywhere else, so that y to the third is going to stay, and that's your answer. So now on this one, what you want to focus on is we do not like to have negative exponents. And so in a problem like this, let me just first get a yellow. And I'm going to be focusing on this one here, and a little thinner pen too, sorry. Okay, so this one here and this one here. So when you have a negative exponent, I don't care about a negative number. Negative numbers are fine, but a negative exponent means I'm going to have to move it from top to bottom, depending on where it is. Okay, so let's get going on this. Okay, so first I'm just going to rewrite it, keeping things where I want them to be. Okay, so I have a to the second, I'm fine with that. My b to the negative fourth, I'm going to move it to the bottom, so it's going to be b to the fourth. My c, it's going to stay because it doesn't have a negative exponent. Now moving to the bottom, my a to the negative fifth, I'm going to move that to the top, and that's going to be a to the fifth. My b to the third, is going to be on bottom. And my c to the second is going to stay on bottom. So now I need to clean this up. So I need to get all my a's together, all my b's together, all my c's together. So looking at my a's, I have an a squared and an a to the fifth. So that's going to be a to the seventh. My c's, I have a c on top and a c squared on bottom. So I can cancel a c on top with a c on bottom, and I'm going to be left with a c on bottom. My b's, I have a b to the fourth, b to the third. That's going to be b to the seventh, and that's my answer. On this one here, I don't like negative exponents, but in a problem like this, I'm going to try and do the math first, because sometimes after I do this math, I'm not going to have a negative exponent. Now, my 5 is going to be raised to the negative third. I'll deal with that here in a second. My x to the negative second, raised to the negative third, power to power, I multiply, and I actually get a positive 6. Y to the negative fourth, raised to negative 3, power to power, I multiply, I get y to the positive 12th. Z to the third, raised to the negative third, I get z to the negative 9th. So now I have 2 of these that I need to move. I'm going to need to move my 5 to the negative third and my z to the negative 9th. So my x to the 6th is going to stay, my y to the 12th is going to stay, my 5 to the third is going to move to the bottom, and my z to the 9th is going to move to the bottom. Now the very last thing I need to do, I need to work out 5 to the third. And if you do that on your calculator, it is a 125. So I'm going to get x to the 6th, y to the 12th, over 125 z to the 9th. And that's your answer. Okay, these last 4 are dealing with special right triangles. So this is a 45, 45, 90, okay? So if this is a 2 root 2, the other leg, because these are both the same angles, these are both 45, this has to also equal a 2 root 2. Now, whatever your, let me undo that. Try it one more time. So whatever your 2 legs are, your hypotenuse in a 45, 45, 90, you multiply whatever these are by root 2. So I'm going to take 2 root 2 and I'm going to multiply it by root 2. And when I do that, root 2 times root 2 is 2. So I get 2 times 2 or 4. And that's my answer. Now on letter F, again, this is a 45, 45, 90. And for this one, if this is 4, this is your hypotenuse, you have to be careful. So basically, let me kind of do the math here. If you take x times root 2, whatever you have here times root 2 equals 4. So when I solve this, I get x is equal to 4 over root 2. Another way to think about this is if I multiply root 2 to go this direction, then to go backwards, I have to divide by root 2. And you see that's what I ended up with. Now, we need to rationalize. We do not like to have a radical on bottom. So I need to multiply the top and bottom by something that's going to make it into a perfect square, and that's going to be root 2. Okay. And so my final answer is going to be 4 root 2 over 2, and this can reduce to 2 root 2. And that's your answer for x. It's also going to be our answer for y. Okay, so on letter G, this is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Okay, and let me just write the 30 in here. That is our 30. The 30, across from the 30 is always the shortest side, and that one is always half of your hypotenuse. Okay, so if this is 16, this is going to equal 8. Now, whatever's across from your 30, you times it by root 3, and you end up with your 60. So this is going to be 8 root 3, and that's your answer. Now, the last one, letter H, it's also a 30, 60, 90. Okay, let me just put my 60 here. Now, this time I have my 30. So if you know your 30, you take your what is across from your 30 and you times it by 2, and that is going to be your hypotenuse. You take whatever's across from your 30 and times it by root 3, and that is going to be your V.